Thank you. So, yes, I'm a facilitator. What I'm really interested in is what are you going to do? So you out there rather than just the people on the stage. And I was dipping into the 5 sessions, and we've got a slide for each of them, which I'll go through. Just, put your hands up if you can't read the slides. It just tells, can everyone pretty much read the slides? Sure, that's great. So, I'm going to go through the 5 slides very quickly, but when I was popping into the sessions, what was interesting to me was the different kinds of people who were on the stages and who were parts of the movement. And what I was discerning, I think, was 4 kind of jobs in creating the pathway, which was what the parallel sessions were called. And it seemed to me that the 4 jobs were, and I suppose I'm saying this to invite you to think, well, which of those jobs do you most relate to? The 4 jobs were, one of them was about standing and saying to other people, don't go down that path. Yeah? This, holding a no entry sign or whatever the right kind of sign is and saying, that's not a good path, don't go there. There's another job which is a kind of technical expert job around the designers and the architects of possible paths. So there's a lot of uncertainty and a lot of complexity, but there are designers and architects. So we've got the people saying, don't go there, we've got designers and architects. Possibly with a more spiritual kind of intention, there are people who make the path by walking it. So in I'm going to get the sessions wrong, but in the Faithbased action session, I witnessed Sister Mary Carmody, who I'd know well, who's down there, who's somebody who's making the path by walking it. There's a bit of a plan, but actually there's just a kind of day-to-day integrity of doing it, which inspires others. So that there are people who make the path by walking it. And then the 4th activity identified was the kind of awareness, PR, communications, spreading the message, which is very definite types of psychology, types of skills which go in those places. But also, in my experience of facilitating, we very often don't value each other. So if we're a campaigner, we don't necessarily value the people who are just communicators. Or if we're an architect, we don't value the people who are actually out there in the eco-village daring to try to create what a community could be as a possible inspiration and messing loads of things up, but at least having a go. So anyway, that's you possibly used up most of my time, but there we go. So 5 slides very quickly. Faith-based action, I'm sure you've been looking at that. So there's a lived integrity about that, which was coming across really, really strongly. And there's a real opportunity in the moment. So lots of speakers have mentioned the encyclical, but Catholic Church in Ireland particularly. What are you going to do now? Climate justice and the educational response. So obviously education for sustainable development's been around for a while, but really some basic things about the nature of the educational system, the relation between individual and community and collaboration. Politics. It's intensely political. So we like to pretend that, or some of us like to sometimes pretend education isn't a political act. It's an intensely political act. So we're going to have to face that one a little bit and work that one through. The powerful role of the teacher. A lot of power vested in our teachers. Just and sustainable food and farming. So Irish food and farming is not an elephant in the room. The elephant features later. Must be part of the solution. Not just about increasing production, but there's some really difficult conversations that we're going to have in Ireland. So our equivalent of keep it in the ground. If someone can come up with a catchy phrase for what that's like, but there's the Irish equivalent of keep it in the ground. Yeah. Say it again?
Keep it off the grass.
Keep it off the grass, okay. No, I won't go there. Good. Divestment. We're all in it. Heightened awareness that we're all in it. There's a political agenda. There's this thing about creating opportunities for people to be heroes rather than necessarily just typecasting people as enemies. So actually creating spaces within which people can be the heroes. And there's bits of it which need to be managed carefully. So, again, it wasn't in the whole session, but there's, the words crash were mentioned, I believe. And then I think that's probably the smallest writing, sustainable and just communities. Like eating an elephant, elephant time. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So our connections, our personal connections with place and land, the social relations between us, an opportunity for regeneration, an opportunity for transition, and listening to one of the speakers in particular, an opportunity to party. I particularly like that it was there in the Occupy movement, a kind of, I'm not going to the revolution unless it's a party. So, thank you very much.